One of the most important questions that people often ask in crypto is, should I sell or should I buy or panic when my altcoin has a massive token unlock? This is extremely powerful to know. Like in situations we're seeing right now with Pyth Network, this particular altcoin is about to 2.5x its supply in a very short period of time. So will this cause a massive sell event, or will this be an opportunity somehow in some way we can take advantage? You are going to learn this. Guys, this is foundational crypto knowledge. If someone tries to scare you in the future, or if you begin second guessing yourself, or if you're researching, you'll be able to take this video and go ahead and apply it with your altcoins. Trust me, it's going to be worth the 10 to 15 minutes of your time. The coin we are mostly going to be referring to today is Pyth Network. However, I do want to mention there's about 3 other altcoins that I'm going to be picking apart to allow you to really let this all sink in. Again, the goal being so you can go ahead and take away and apply this to your own situation. I see a lot of people panicking right now about Pyth and this massive unlock, and I've seen it time and time and time again. And usually I'm correct in guessing what comes next. And it's just simply what I'm going to tell you today. Okay, I'm not saying I'm some oracle. It's just very basic crypto stuff. You're usually tricked into believing that it's a lot worse than what it is. But when you know this, you will be one step ahead of the competition, which is what it takes in this industry to make money. Now, if you want to actually see me do 50 consecutive push-ups, I know, world record, then drop a like right now, because if this video gets 1,000 likes in the first 2 days, I will post that to my Twitter feed. And hey, for convenience sake, since you're down there right now, why not hit the subscribe button as well? You're going to make me fit and pretty happy if you go ahead and do that too. Thank you very much. So Pyth Network is about a 600 mil market cap altcoin right now. It is an oracle. Again, I don't want to make this a Pyth breakdown video. All I wanted to show you was the last month we've been pretty much pulling down, okay? This isn't going to really give us too much information right now. I did want to point it out though, because like I said, in the next 5-10 days or so, we're about to see a massive unlock here for Pyth. We have about 1.5 billion tokens in circulation. We're about to go up to 3.625. So again, almost at 2.5xing, which is pretty crazy to do. We haven't seen it before though. We've seen it many, many times in different altcoins. Where we're going to have to start here, first of all, is when you're trying to do this yourself, don't go and look at websites like this. This can be an important website to use token unlocks. It often does get things wrong though. You want to come straight to the project itself. In this case, you simply type in the project's name, tokenomics, or vesting schedule, or token distribution. These things are all somewhat synonymous with one another, okay? They all pretty much mean we're trying to find this page right here. Again, in Pyth's case, this is Pyth tokenomics, and 2 very important things, the distribution and the vesting, okay? So Pyth vesting schedule here, some places call it unlock schedule. Again, we're just trying to say, hey, this is accurate with this. We're just trying to make sure it's coming from the so-called horse's mouth, and the distribution itself pretty much just says these color-coded parts here you can see on the side, while they're all associated with a particular amount of tokens, okay? So for example, publisher rewards over here, we can find publisher rewards and unlocked at the start. Yep, they don't have too much at the start, and then they begin getting more and more unlocked over time. This just pretty much tells us who has access to tokens, and this tells us when. So you can't do one without the other, okay? Because a project or a certain thing, for example, the private sales might have 90% of the supply, which is obviously very, very bad. We don't want investors having most of our bloody tokens. But if that's unlocked on a very slow pace over 1,000 years, it's not too bad, all right? So it's very important to pair both of these together. You find people just talk about one without the next. You have to pair both. Now, this video isn't going to be talking about how to analyze this. I've made many videos on this, particularly Pyth as well. Links will be down below. But kind of what I wanted to really stress here was just finding this page. And what comes next is very important as well. And that is actually identifying where are these tokens going to? Because a big part, ladies and gentlemen, about reading this vesting schedule, right, and having a look at this big scary unlock sheet here is, first of all, who are these tokens being delivered to? Because if these tokens, for example's sake, were all going to myself, let's just say they're all going to myself, I was getting about 6 or 5 billion Pyth tokens, and I decided, hey, I'm not going to sell. Well, it wouldn't impact the price, okay? So we have to understand, first of all, if the people that are getting these tokens are going to want to sell. And that's what you can do on this particular sheet. Some places will have a pretty nice comprehensive sheet, like Near Protocol over here has them all broken down, where are these people, even color-coded, where are they going, who are they, why did they choose the people that they chose, okay? Pith Network has a pretty good schedule as well. They explain who these so-called people or entities are and why they chose them, okay? Some not so good, okay? Some, like optimism, can leave some room to be desired, but it's usually displayed somewhere. So all we're going to do is figure out, okay, so this massive unlock's coming, right? So who are the people getting their unlocked tokens? So we can see here by having a look at this chart, or again, back over here, I will use this because it's probably more recommended. Again, so publisher rewards, they're getting some of their tokens, okay? So who are these guys? Who are the ecosystem growth? These guys are getting most of the unlock, you can see here. Who is protocol development and who is the private sales? Basically everyone apart from community and launch. Well, you scroll down, you simply have a look down the page. First of all, publisher rewards. Who are these guys? Well, again, these guys are just simply the people who are providing the infrastructure for Pith. So you got to ask yourself, are they going to want to sell their tokens when they get them on this big unlock? No. These guys are incentivized to lock up their Pith and secure the network, and also they're looking for the longevity of the network. These are actual organizations and big ones that we all know, okay? So it's pretty important that they don't sell their Pith or are known to. They can, of course, that's fine, but they are really not incentivized to, all right? So that's obviously a big tick, first of all. Next up, ecosystem growth. So who is the ecosystem growth? If you remember, these guys are getting most of their tokens, so it's very important we know who these people are. It's developers, educators, researchers, strategic contributors, early publishers, and more. Okay, basically people who are aimed at advancing, Pith protocol itself. So the way I look at that is when these tokens are going to support Pith via the ecosystem growth, it doesn't mean they're going to be given to developers, educators, researchers straight away. But when they are, it's always for the net positive growth of the protocol. Now, we're obviously incentivized for that to happen because we're going to make money. The more the network grows and it gets out there, the more money we make because the more the token is required at some sort of level. So that is a very good thing. It's nothing to be concerned about. What we're looking for here really is what is called third parties. We're looking for people who are like you and I, who want to sell, who don't have to have a board meeting in order to decide to sell and worry about reputational damage. We're worried about the people who are, okay, I'm going to go check my MetaMask and I'm going to sell my Pith at some money. Okay, so we'll get to those guys in a second. One of these also is protocol development. Okay, so core contributors focus on building Oracle tooling, products, infrastructure, and expanding the protocol suite of decentralized data services. Now, these guys look like they have a lot, but again, this is just a very small sliver. If we go back up to the top here at the actual distribution and the vesting schedule, we can see here it's very small. Actually, a little bit less than that is the one entity here we should be concerned with, and that is the private sales. So I know, researching crypto quite a lot, what private sales mean. Again, early investors, seed round investors, rounds A, B, these all are pretty much mean the same thing. It just means venture capitalists are getting their tokens, okay? So before we move on, folks, I've got to tell you about a new gaming altcoin that's pretty much unlike any other I've so far spoken about. The project's called GameSwift, a gaming infrastructure altcoin that leverages the power of AI to bring a whole new dimension to the gaming narrative like we've never seen before. GameSwift is a unique gaming infrastructure project for many reasons. The first is that they're offering airdrops to their token stakers, which adds, of course, free value to their community. They've successfully completed 2 airdrops, including Star Heroes, a multiplayer combat game which is already at a $15 million market cap itself, with other 4 airdrops confirmed to be launching soon. So if you're someone who enjoys free tokens, this might be the pick for you. Their cross-chain interoperability allows users to access GameSwift from any major blockchain network, and GameSwift ID allows users to log into one account to access all the games built on or in tandem with G-Swift. Plus, their soon-to-be ZK EVM blockchain is about to launch its testnet, which will unlock a whole host of possibilities and should provide a strong reason for the project to gain a huge momentum kick. But what I find the most interesting is the inclusion of AI via their GS Force app that allows users to make money with their idle GPU to power machine learning systems that help improve games and more. So when you aren't playing games, you're making money. You can see why GameSwift has already attracted over 120,000 platform users, integrated over 100 games, signed even 200 of their own titles, and have around 180 million worth of USDC in their treasury to kickstart their endeavors. Oh, and did I mention they're also deflationary? They've actually burned over 14 million tokens so far, with 44% of the supply locked in their DAO. So what's left of the supply is actually quite limited. There's a lot to discuss about GameSwift, and considering it's much smaller versus its competitors, it gives a lot of appeal. So if you're interested in hidden gems in the gaming, AI, and layer 2 narratives, check out the links down below. These are the ones you have to be concerned with. Everything else is going to be pretty much held in, the governance itself. And yes, Pith is completely, decentralized to some degree, not completely, but it does have a DAO who votes on things for the development of the project. But these guys, once they get their tokens, they're designed, they're buying, and full intentions in buying and investing in Pith is to make money. That is their sole intention, just like you and I, okay? So, again, very concerned, but again, you can have a look at how much they actually have comparable to the actual full unlock itself, and it really isn't that much. If we zoom back in, it's a tiny, tiny slither. So all this to say, okay, is that when I'm looking at Pith, most of the tokens, about 95% of the unlocked tokens here are going towards, people and places that aren't going to sell immediately. And when they sell in the future, it's not going to cause, a massive supply shock, you would assume. A lot of these tokens given to entities are done over the counter, which means Pith isn't selling them on the open market and they aren't rebuying on the open market, which would impact price. If it's done over the counter, so to speak, that means it's delivered straight to them. It doesn't impact price unless they sell on the receiving end. So all in all, I think this big blow up about Pith is a little bit overheated based on my own experience, and I'll show you with one proof. All right, proof is in the pudding, seeing is believing. So Optimism over here had a massive unlock earlier in the cycle. They actually pretty much over 2x their supply, not as steep as what Pith is about to happen, but just as much. You can see here, the only problem with Optimism in this case is they actually unlocked two entities, and they were investors and core contributors. So they did unlock to the guys called third parties. They did unlock to the ones that we should be afraid of, unlike Pith, who pretty much unlocked their tokens to most of them, at least 95%-ish, to, ecosystem betterment causes, if you will. Okay, so again, you can have a look at who these guys are. Again, investors or sugar daddies, as they call them, and core contributors. So there was definitely headlines about this, just like there's a few headlines now about Pith, be scared, so on and so forth. Well, they unlocked, again, quite a lot, $587 million worth, and I could tell right now, people were scared. How do I know? Well, because if we actually extrapolate that time and have a look on the chart, we could actually see, this is the 4-hour chart, so every 4 candles is a whole entire day. So the unlock happened here, on this day right here. However, you can see the massive sell-off happened before that. About 2 days it began before the actual sell event happened. It only fell from open to close 3.4%, which is a minute rounding error in crypto, okay? And then it actually went up the following 9 days. It came back down, but all in all, pretty well moved sideways over a 9-day period. Yes, some of these guys who got their tokens unlocked would have most definitely sold their tokens along here. However, the actual crash came here 9 days later. They definitely took profits on Optimism because they would have been in profit, went sideways, came back up again, and then moved sideways. Matter of fact, if we have a look from where this ends in time, it actually went back up again, right? Not even from the bottom, from this point in time, okay? Way back over here, it went up 50 plus more %, okay? So what this pretty much told me was these investors were looking to make a quick buck, sold, and very, very quickly, they probably, bought back in again, or they had that initial interest there. The project is quality, therefore it had the demand, price pulls down, people dollar cost average. There's definitely metrics we can look at to see who bought that dip, so to speak. I would probably argue those VCs selling would have probably bought back in because they obviously initially were interested in the project. However, usually these guys want to make some money for their investors to show them that they actually are making money. Now, a very important part of this process as well is looking at the investors. There's no good in us saying, oh, well, in Optimism's case, or again, over in Pith's case, okay, investors are going to have some of their tokens unlocked here. That's a bad thing. But who are the investors? So for Pith, great websites include the likes of CryptoRank, Crunchbase. There are a few other websites like that. And some of these websites, like CryptoRank, which I like here, in the case of Celestia, will actually tell you what price they got in at, which also gives you the ROI they currently are up. This is important information because if you can find this, if you can see how much these guys ended up buying and at what level. Okay, again, in Celestia's case, some of these investors are 1,000x up almost. You can say to yourself, well, when they get their tokens, they're going to sell. A lot of these guys are looking for set multiples, 5, 10, 15x. They're dealing with multi-millions. They don't need 1,000x to make big returns. So in the case of Celestia, seed round, they will most definitely be acquiring their gains when they initially have that unlock. But you can also have a look at these websites and just see who these backers are. You can see here, CryptoRank does the job for us. They actually tell you what tier of investor these are and they rank them. So I have a pretty good idea who these investors are. As you do more research yourself, you begin to know some of the more familiar names. Multicoin Capital, Delphi Digital are actually some of the top investors. Again, they've said this here. So you would kind of see, okay, if they've spread, these investor and seed rounds across 100 different companies or VCs, and these VCs are quite high tier, you can assume that they're not going to sell immediately. A lot of these guys, again, know crypto and know what they want. And so again, if you spread that across, there's never going to be like one big moment where all these VCs are like, guys, let's ring the bell, let's all sell now. Okay, it doesn't typically happen like that. So just understand the further it's spread, and again, the quality of the investor can make a difference in whether they actually sell on a date or not. So as for Pith, I expect two things to happen. Again, you guys can kind of take this information and assess it for yourself based on what you see here. Given everything we know about this and what I just showed you over here in terms of the distribution and who these people are, I would expect one or two situations to happen. Red over here is probably more ideal. It would run in line with what I would suspect, because red is typically what happens when a large unlock occurs, like with optimism back over here. Okay, we had that initial 2 days of retail, people like you and I, going to sell. This is probably what's going to happen, but I'm suspecting this could already be happening now. This massive dump in the market might also be further exacerbated in terms of Pith, because people are afraid of this unlock as well. Pith is down quite a lot right now respective to my other altcoins. Or the second, okay, it actually dumps on the day because those very small slither of those core contributors, those investors, might actually dump a little bit of their tokens, and then they might sell more of their tokens, pushing it down. I don't think the blue one will come true, because that's more so the case of optimism, where a lot of these investors and core contributors had only unlocked tokens. Okay, so again, that's a bit different in this case. So yes, this is what I would more so anticipate for the likes of Pith. Whether that comes, again, on the date itself, like if that happens over here, or whether it is happening right now, unsure, but I can almost bet that there's going to be some sort of sell-off before the actual event itself, and then we'll probably push back up, so long as the market is also moving up. So that'll do it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed. And look, this isn't really very simple to understand. I get it. If you're a new crypto investor, this might take a bit to let it sink in. Let me know down below if you want to see more videos touching on this. I definitely will leave some links down below to 2 other videos you must watch. If you made it this far, please watch them. Please watch them. It breaks this down in much more detail and talks about what the impact of, issuing new supply, like we've talked about here, unlocked tokens, does to the price, because it can be quite confusing. People think, oh, if a whole bunch of tokens are unlocked, won't that just magically drop the price? Goes against what I just said then, of course, but no. Okay, so again, watch those videos to learn more. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you all soon. Take good care.